Hey everyone, Darren Randall, Houston Tents and Events Chief Operating Officer, and
I'm Mike Rape, former president and owner of Three Phase Rentals, and now the assistant general manager of Pro Services here at Houston Tents and Events.
let's go. So we're here this morning to share some exciting announcements for Houston Tents and Events. We have acquired Three Phase Rentals, which Mike Rape has ran for many years, and I'm excited to have him in here and be able to talk just about what that acquisition and integration is going to look like, and our teamwork and what we're going to do for the city of Houston and beyond together.
Three Phase Rentals has been in business since 2008 as a power and HVAC provider to the Houston and surrounding areas. We've been all over Houston, all over Texas, to be honest, providing power and HVAC for all sorts of events, whether it's tournaments or festivals or corporate events. And it just seems like the marriage of the two companies actually makes sense, and we're excited to be part of the HTE team.
So I think that the integration part is what's going to help us be able to grow to the level that we want to. In the event business, you hit a certain point that the jobs and the projects have to get larger. Power was always a side thing, or it was always an add-on or a bolt-on to the existing customers. So now with bringing in Three Phase, it's going to allow us to go after event-specific jobs that we may or may not be doing tenting on, and I think that it's important to know that now it's going to put us in a different threshold as far as event power provider, not only for the city of Houston, but across the state. It's going to give us the ability to stretch our footprint geographically. For one of the most recent projects, we did a part of a hospitality area for the Super Bowl in New Orleans, which Mike and his team handled all the power and HVAC, and it was actually him bringing us into the fold to be able to work on that project. So I think that a lot of it, even outside of Houston or the state of Texas, it's going to be huge for us to be able to handle more large-scale projects together.
Over the years, we've always worked on projects together anyway, so it's like our teams have one cohesive unit. We've always made each other stronger, so why not do it under one hat?
Yeah.
One notable one, we're doing it right now, but we're doing it under one roof. That's the NASA Moon to Mars. That's always been a high-profile event. It's quite large. It goes on for a good amount of time, and we collectively have a lot of tents, a lot of tables, chairs, generators, HVAC, power distribution. So last year we did that as Three Phase Rentals and HTE. We were working together on the project. But and that's just one of a few, but that is probably the most notable project that we've worked on together in years past.
In the event power side, you're talking about portable and trailer generators that are great for your events and festivals, but also in the commercial space, in the industrial, in the storm services and disaster sector. It's an area that we've gotten brought into since COVID. I mean, you think about all of the testing and vaccine sites. Well, they all needed tents and power. That's what we handled, those small parts. If the site was small enough, it was too big for us, then we weren't able to do anything on it. Something like that scale, we can handle now a lot more being together. On the industrial side or the storm side, we now would get called if there was something on the Gulf from the different storm disaster companies. We'd be able to tap in and help provide the flooring or the tenting and whatnot. But generally, our generator inventory was limited, and our distribution side for the cabling and panels and stuff. Well, now bringing in true experts in that area is what's going to help us stretch and be able to take care of those people. So we're not only talking about this acquisition being important for the event customer, we're talking about this acquisition being important for every sector that we do business in, and which ultimately in those storm or disaster situations, it helps us grow as a true player, being the provider for those different organizations that are trying to find companies to use for that sort of thing.
And as far as the disaster relief is concerned, it's not always about the equipment. You can get the equipment everywhere, but you can't always get people that have been in that environment before. Whereas our team has been everywhere from Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina. We've been all over the place working, whether it's disaster relief or camp work. So we've been engulfed in that environment. And now that we have the resources that HTE provides for us, we can take that to the next level.
I've been in I will call it the rentals business now for 10 years. And I feel like for the first time in 10 years, I feel like I actually have true event power, temporary power experts as part of the team, and not people that I've only had to train myself with what I've learned across the years. And it was enough that was still by the book. We did things safe. I bought the right equipment, but it was always just we were at a ceiling as to what we could do in that space for the client. And now the options are limitless. Being able to have Mike and the three-phase team over here with us.
He keeps saying expert. I don't know. Did you hire somebody
We'll
else?
talk-
Is there someone else coming in?
We'll talk about Carter. Over the years, when you're talking about disaster storms, which are becoming all too often across the country, but even more apparent here in Texas or the Gulf Coast, I think that having somebody in their space is going to help us not have to say no and make somebody keep going down the line. Usually when we're getting contacted, a company like us, they've already exhausted inventory or resources, people, manpower in those type of delicate, detailed time situation, sensitive stuff. So I think that now when we're contacted, we are one of the last few options. So if you land with a tent company and you're asking about power and HVAC, that means you've went through your first 4 or 5 calls that are dedicated to that, right? We're an event company, but it just so happens that a lot of our resources, no different than the year that we started in 2020, can't be used for other purposes in meaningful ways. Well, when we're getting called, if we were to say no, it means that who are they going to go to, right? Who is an electricity provider? Who are they going to have as a man or as a feeding area, feeding zone? Like who are they going to go contact next? With the amount of tents and flooring and tent sizes we have available in those sort of situations to deploy, we don't want to say no. And unfortunately, outside of the tents and floors, when it comes to that, I've had to focus on what I know we could execute in that time, with the sensitivity around it time-wise. And before, it was just tents and rentals. Very rarely could I deploy power and HVAC or temporary power distribution in time for what they needed in the scale they needed it. And that won't be an issue anymore.
The most recent one was Beryl, naturally. We had a team up in North Carolina for a little over 4 months doing HVAC for tents. And Darren brings up a good point that a lot of these people that are doing these cleanup, right? So a lot of this was cleanup for workers, food stations, water stations for all of the displaced families that were in North Carolina. And I wouldn't say that all of them are this case, but the vast majority, you would have one person that would have to contract a tent company to provide the tent, and then you would have to contract a power and HVAC company to provide the power and the temperature control. Well, now that's all under one roof, so it makes it more of a seamless operation there.
This isn't his first rodeo. Let's call it. It's March, right? We can use that term everywhere. It's not his first rodeo. He's had a successful production company for years that he sold a few years ago, and so when you're looking at acquiring a business, you're buying the customers, hopefully, and you can maintain the level of expectation and maybe even enhance it. You're buying the inventory that you hope you can churn quicker and that it integrates into your current inventory assets to make it seamless and so that again you're able to grow using those same assets. But the third component of this, and I think that's equally as important as the first two, is key employees, right? And it's Mike and his son Carter, and then obviously we have another guy, Drew and Chris, that are both joining us, and Clay's other son Colby. So we've been able to grow by 5 true professionals in that space, and knowing that Mike has already done this once with a production company that he moved on from, but and obviously he can touch on more of that. But it was important to me, and it shows that there is somebody that truly wants to do this. This wasn't a sell off what he's worked up toward and move on, and so I could easily tell that he wants more, right? And he wants more for his family, and I want to be able to do that. I need them, right? It's not just I want them. I need somebody that knows what they know how to do, and I think that again, your track record, let's call it, shows that you know what you're doing and that you'll make things work, and you're juggling the business you sold plus others even at this time still. So
it's difficult being the captain of a ship, especially when you have multiple vessels out there sailing. It's hard to keep your focus on one, without losing track of another. And why HTE? Well, we work great together, number one. And whenever I look at selling a company, I'm not just selling a company. I'm not just selling hard assets. I'm selling people. I'm selling customers that I've spent years in developing and nourishing. And yeah, you could work behind a Houston Tents and Events, but I guarantee you that the vast majority of the Houston Tents and Events customers don't call Houston Tents and Events. They call Darren, or they call another salesperson that they've developed a relationship with. So with that, that's what I've done over the years with my company is develop those relationships, and I can't just hand those off to anyone. And what I know is that from my friendship and relationship with Darren and his general manager and others that I am friends with here is that they take care of their people, number one. And by taking care of your people, it makes it easier to take care of your customers that you've developed those relationships with. And getting back to being the captain of multiple ships, I wanted a place where my employees could go and be nourished and go further, have the ability to go further than what I could personally provide them. And it could be said the same thing for my customers as well. Now my customers have more opportunities, but most importantly, my employees have a greater opportunity with HTE versus what I could give them with a small family-owned operation. A proud father moment, and of course, my wife Kathy would say proud mother moment. And I don't think a day goes by since I've started at the HTE office I haven't been told we didn't want you. We wanted your son. But we knew that he wouldn't come without you. So I'm happy for that, because I've had a successful life. I've had multiple successful businesses, and my son Carter has been with me every step of the way. Since he was 9-10 years old, running around. He's now 26. He was running around our warehouse, rolling cable or doing whatever, or sweeping the floor. But from there, he's learned a lot. He's cried, he's bled, it's been a rough go, especially when you work for your dad, right? But he has his mother's head on his shoulders, not mine, so he's extremely logical, and he thinks about things, he thinks about processes, and more than anything else, he's phenomenal with people, both customers and employees. He is a true team leader. And what is his role over here? He is the director of the power and HVAC side of HTE. So it makes me proud that he's coming from a business that we've taught him and brought him up, and he is now in charge of that division and in charge of people. So yeah, that's kind of proud, and I'm happy the fact that they wanted him and not me, but I'm here, so you got to deal with it.
For the record, I am still very appreciative and thankful that Mike is here, because there's going to be some times when I have to tell Carter, hey, I don't know, go call your dad. So I'm really glad that his dad is on payroll, so when I tell him that, I don't get Mike's retainer fee, okay?
So I can be clear, there's really only one person that tells me that they wanted my son and not me. That's Stephen Noway, the general manager.
Cough, cough.
Yeah. I call him asshole.
Who is it that you said that the only person that wanted it?
Stephen Noway, general manager.
Oh, we love you too, Mike. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He said it's the truth. No, we're excited to welcome the entire three-phase team over here to HTE. It's only been a week now that they've been on board, but they've hit the ground running between all the events we got going up right now and the ones that we got going up in the next couple months.
Yeah, acquiring a company in the middle of one of the busy seasons between spring or fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
It can be very taxing.
And so, but there's never going to be a good time. I mean, ultimately, if the sooner we get integrated, the sooner things start rolling.
Actually, June would have been better.
You say that. Look at the last couple of Junes.
I would have been on vacation, so it would have been really good.
Yeah, I think that there's some caveat to just do it, right? If you keep postponing something till you say there's a perfect time or window. I mean, we've been talking about this since last year.
Yeah. And
it was just a matter of when does it make sense, or where are we at on alignment, right? And making sure, I mean, when you're integrating, again, there's not like I got a board of investors or anybody, it's me. So if I've got all my family and now I have other employees and their families in this mix, and I'm going to bring in a whole other family that's for this other company, I had to make sure that it was right. I had to make sure that we checked off every box you possibly can. It doesn't mean there's not going to be any small things, but you've pretty much vetted through the surprises, and went through that path with the first acquisition. I had a lot of learnings from purchasing a finer event, and it definitely made me more prepared for the company to take this acquisition, because I don't really feel like this is Darren Randall doing another acquisition. This is Houston Tinson Events. So if I'm going to put everybody else's, best interest in mind for this, I need to make sure I've vetted anything to make this even better, and learnings from the first acquisition before three-phase. You ultimately become family with people.
Yeah.
I mean, no different than Stephen and Jamie joining them, and they're at our house more often than most of our friends are at this point. So it has to be. I mean, when you get to a certain point, and these guys over here have been in this industry a lot longer than I have. If you want to scale and you want to do this a certain way, it takes a certain amount of time, and there's only so many hours in the day. You find a way to start mixing them both together. That may mean at some point this summer I'm fishing with Mike in Mexico, and I guarantee you I'm probably going to spend 90% of the time on that boat with him talking about ideas. I'm kicking around clients. I'm kicking around new ways to do something.
We're not hanging overboard.
No, not hanging overboard. Yeah. So it all goes together. So when I say that, they're putting their livelihood in me, I need to make sure it's that way. And there's a quote that somebody sent me a couple weeks ago that I shared with my wife, and now it ultimately should probably get shared to everybody here. That if somebody finds you in an interesting situation that's less than stellar, and you decide they decide to follow you or trust you with everything, when you eventually get there, you have to make sure that person wins. And obviously I've been with my wife since freshman year of high school, and who she saw in me was different than it is, but she knew what she could do, and she knew what I was capable of doing, and so she bet on me. And I think that no different than both guys sitting here, they've bet on me. They've put things aside. They've looked at age differences. You'll learn a lot.
I've told you I am investing in you.
Yeah, you are.
We're investing in each other.
Yeah.
It's not one, it's a team.
Yeah, and so I think that these guys are betting on me. So my job now as a COO of this company is to make sure, no different than the guys out washing tents right now or linens, or the guys out building a tent right now. My goal is my goal is the same. It's to make sure that they bet on me. So I got to make sure these people win, and that means Houston Tinson Events winning. And acquiring three-phase rentals is truly a win-win for everybody, and that's what you got to seek in these sort of things.
The addition of them coming on board, it's just putting us in a different market, Houston and statewide, and hopefully national-wide with Power. But just them bringing over their knowledge, and we'll be able to knock out more events and a little bit more planning going into it, and just making sure everything runs off good. Mike and Carter both bring over stuff that we need, even on the tent side, not just the Power side, that they're going to be able to assist with us on it. So I'm excited about the expansion and our continued growth here at HTE.
Yeah, I'm not hugging you for that. I feel great about this acquisition. Like I said, I'm really proud of my son and the opportunities that Darren and Stephen both are going to give to him to succeed and grow in this industry. I'm happy that my customers are going to be well taken care of. Of course, I'm still leading the charge. I'll still be there for those guys. But I just know that if I say something, it's going to happen in the back. And that Stephen and Darren, they both have my back. They'll support just about anything I do. I'm sure that we'll have conversations like, Mike, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I love the family environment here. It still is a small business, although it's big.
Yep.
I think the day that we turn a small business into a big business is when we lose track of our customers, lose track of our focus, lose track of our employees. And knowing and loving this small business atmosphere, this small family atmosphere is really one of the reasons why we're here. I guess we'll see, huh?
Give me a week to do it.
Check back with me in
I'm
a
excited.
month, will you?